going on with your posture that could be involved. I could treat you. These are the common myofascial trigger points based on the pain you're describing to me. We can figure that out in a session, and let me show you an example of it. And then eventually, what I realized is I need a prescription form for them, like the physical therapist has. So I ended up, again, now you could produce these yourself. Like, I used to have to go and spend $650 to get 25 pads made with colored ink and tab together. Now you could do that on a copy, not a copy, like you can design it right in your computer. You can print off 5 or 6. You can add Kinko's. You can ask them to add it to a cardboard card and add the sticky so that you peel off the prescriptions. Did you know that? You can make those yourself now. And here's what else I'm going to tell you. My old prescription pads, in the old days, they had to have 25 prescriptions on them, okay? Well, and it cost a bunch of money. Once I realized, like, okay, some of these people never refer to me at all. I'm dropping off a pad, like it all costs back then, big time. So I started making my pads with only 10 on them, okay, intentionally. I could count them real easily. Okay, and whenever I drop my pad off, I'd always write the date on that cardboard thing on the inside of the pad. So I always knew when I dropped it off, okay? Then I would always try to stop by on a regular basis, either say hi to the doctor or maybe pinpoint a different muscle pattern that they could be seeing, or another pattern, or at least just say hi to the head nurse who's helping to fill out these prescriptions too. I go into an office one time and they go, boy, we've been sending you a lot of business. I'm thinking, I'm looking at the pad, I see the date, and then while we're talking, I'm like, you can flip through while you're talking, and I'm counting, like, there's 10 freaking prescriptions on this thing. Like, they haven't had it. And I go, yeah, which one are you're giving them my prescription? Oh yeah, we've been giving your prescription right here. And he opens the door. It's the PT up the street from me. It's not my office. They had me confused, so it's like, they think they're referring to me, and they're just like, this PT must be wondering, why am I, like, this is great, I'm getting a ton of business from this doctor. So that was one thing. Also, by being able to count them real easily, I could realize, maybe some have been thrown out, but some are missing. Are you with me? Or I'd realize, oh, they're down to, what I'm saying. I go, I'll drop another pad off, I was always trying to find a reason to stop back by, but also those were little things I was trying to do. And then on the back, it had a map to my office. Does that make sense? Where I was located. Back then, it told you, we're 20 minutes from DeLand and 15 minutes from Orange City and 10 minutes from DeBerry. I mean, this is before Google and all that stuff. But all that doesn't change. It is about the personal interaction. You can't do it all through social media. Your gift is you locking it in and letting them know that you're going to deliver something different. So then with this, I want to show you how easy it is for someone to figure out which muscles on this chart, based on Dr. Janet Travell's research. Based on Janet Travell's research, and let me get a pen for them to do this. I'm going to put someone on the spot. So a patient comes in, tells me they got terrible headaches, they colored the little chart or whatever, and then I taken 2 photos of them, so I've got their posture, but I haven't gone over it with them yet. And then I say, look, can you point to this chart? I want to just go over with you some about trigger points. And again, all this stuff is kind of key, is what I've learned over time. I tell them today, and I highlight, it's laminated. You can use a dry erase, these are wet erase. I tell them I'm going to talk to you about what's called a myofascial trigger point. A trigger point in a muscle, what I'd always tell people, is like a trigger point on a trigger on a gun. You pull the trigger of a gun, or you apply pressure on the trigger of a gun, the result of that is a bullet that projects out to another, hit something somewhere else. That's what if I press on a trigger point, and then it triggers somewhere else, it recreates your symptoms, your headache, your burning, your numbing, your pain down your leg, that pressure behind your eyeball, that ringing in your ear, any of those phenomena, that's what Travell called it, referred phenomena, if I can recreate that, then I've just found a muscular component to your pain or your dysfunction or your tingling or your numbing or whatever. And then I tell them, so let's say they've got pain in this area right here in their temple. He knew, I knew, we were just, so here's what I want you to realize.
I pick on him the most too.
Do you?
Yeah.
It's a smile. It's a smile, right. It's engaging, right. And that's something, like, I got this look on my face when I'm just sitting around that looks mean. I didn't realize it, but I like frown, okay? And it's like, people go, what's wrong? Are you mad? No, I'm fine, you know? You look like you're mad. No. So I'm having to learn how to smile. So, Travell wrote these books. See, this red area corresponds to that red dot and has that paragraph of muscles next to it. That paragraph of muscles will list any muscles on this chart that are involved and any muscles on another chart. And these hang in your hallway, okay? No, so I do want you to look at these and examine them, okay? So the muscles in this paragraph are listed in the order they're listed in order of significance based on the research. Like, if this trigger point was found more often than any of the other muscles referring to the pain, first in the list, okay? The one at the end of the list was least likely to be involved. So if you came to me and said, here's $100, I got pain here, you got one muscle you can pick, I'm going to tell you the answer is the first one on the list. No brainer. If it's bold, then you really know you need to be looking at it, okay? And all the instructions are, and sometimes it might list a muscle on another chart. So it might list a muscle and then say, go to T3, you know, like it will tell you, go to the torso chart, or go to the upper extremity chart. That muscle's listed there. These little dots that you see in the corners here, oh, I'm sorry, I'm holding you. See how each muscle box has a bunch of little codes in it? Mm-hmm. Those correspond to these different areas. So a muscle like this, see how many colors it's got? Yeah. It shoots pain all over the head. It's the most common trigger point in the body. Number one, most common trigger point in the body. It's like a no-brainer. So, if you told me you had pain in the red area, well, I was going to give it to him. And I'm doing it cold on him. I'm going to give you this, and I'm going to say, circle all the muscles that have a red dot. Start in this column. Circle the whole big box. Okay, and then if you just kind of went down, you would stop where? Yep, and circle that. And what muscle is that, if you can say it?
Semis, spinalis, trapezius.
Perfect. Okay, this one was? Trapezius, okay? Trapezius, and you'd be telling him, this is the most common trigger point in the body, okay? And also you'd be telling where the X is located is the common location of the trigger point. The red areas are showing where you might feel referred pain. I'm showing you this so that if I touch your shoulder and you feel the pain in the side of your head, I want you to know I'm not on a nerve. I want you to know we didn't do anything wrong. I want you to know it's a good thing. Why is it a good thing that I'm touching your shoulder and you feel it in your head? Because then we're connecting that there's a myofascial component here. And if we can produce it, then we know how to go in and address it and reverse it. My therapist never told me that. Every time I told them it went there and I'm scared and I feel like you're on a nerve, is something wrong, they go, it's normal. And I think, well, if it's so freaking normal, why didn't you warn me? No, I'm serious. Like, I used to always think in my head, I remember thinking, this woman's bullied, like, just watch it, it's gonna be normal. I used to actually, because she wasn't, if you just tell me everything's normal and you think you're the rock star because you answer normal, well, if you're such the rock star, why weren't you able to call the shot before you did it? That's the rock star. Right or wrong? Okay, now so this column, I did this intentionally. Column number 1, all the muscles on the back of the neck, in order superficial to deep. That's the way we treat. Okay? Column number 2, just so you know, I just want you to know what they are. Muscles of mastication, just so you know. They open and close our jaw, and they move our jaw side to side, okay? So, do we have any here?
Yes.
And they are?
Temporalis 1.
Uh-huh.
And the temporalis.
Okay, circle it. And yep. And then what else would you have? Anything else in that column?
No.
Okay, what about the next column?
Nothing in the next column.
And what about the next one?
You got the sternocleidomastoid.
That's the way you did much better, but the first day I must have told Dr. Domingos, I have no idea what came, but it was not sternocleidomastoid by any means. And you see all the dots next to that one. That's a real biggie. Circle that one. So I end up taking it a step further. So just so you know, he did muscles of mastication. He will be able to look and see nothing and say, but I always explain to the patient, these are muscles of facial expression, helping us open our eyes, close our eyes, blink, wink, raise our eyebrows. And then these are the muscles on the side of the neck, and these are the muscles on the front, very deep, right. And actually, there are a few muscles very deep that Travell did not do research on. And it says here, it's based on the author's clinical experience. Because I had these trigger points, and I've treated thousands of people with these deep trigger points that go right into your eye, into the back of the neck. So it's like, I'm putting them in. It's just my chart, what do I care? So anyway, if you came in, I tell you these trigger points, I'd start circling and I go, now this muscle, this is the most common trigger point. See how it refers right in? You may not feel all these red spots. You just might feel it right there in the head. But if you get into these other ones, I don't want you nervous. Also, I don't want you nervous if I press somewhere and you feel a pain that you've never felt before. Because that means, if you recognize the pain when I push on it, that means we have found what's called a primary trigger point. It happens so often, you're so familiar with it, that you identify it with your pain, your ringing, your dizziness, your whatever it might be. If I press one and you never have noticed it before, but we're getting the referred phenomena, and we can back it up based on the research, then I know we have something called a latent trigger point, which means at a certain point, if it's never addressed, it will most likely become a primary, where you're recognizing it all the time. So again, I don't want you nervous if we create a symptom that you haven't had marked, okay? And then I tell them, so we start going down in layers, and then we get to the splenius cervicus, we get to the splenius capitis, and again, I always draw the arrow. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm always, asking, you see the trigger points, and then I draw the arrow to the pain. And then I tell them, now this is a few layers deep. In today's session, we may not even be able to get down to these 6 deep muscles. So if I said that to you, what have I kind of indicated? You might need to come back. But I'm not saying that. We'll see how it is. But but I'm just kind of laying, like you're figuring out in your head, okay, so maybe he can't do this all today. Or you know what I'm like? I'm just trying to be honest with you. Like, these were all the things that were not laid out to me, but were running through my head. You know what I'm saying? Then I tell them, okay, these are muscles of mastication. Now, what's important about these muscles of mastication, this muscle is right where your pain is. This muscle's in your shoulder. Now, I'm going to check where your pain is, and we'll do that right off the bat, but what I want you to know is I can treat this muscle first because that's your primary pain, and that feels really good, and then I come to this trigger point, and it's firing into that muscle, it's causing it to contract. So what's going to happen is we're going to go through all the muscles once and figure out what's referring where, and based on that, we'll design a plan, and then every time you come in, basically, we're going to be adjusting it based on, are we getting a referral, are we not? If we're treating something and that trigger point is always there, then we're not addressing something right. And it's just not me treating. It's like, how How's your mechanics in the car when you're driving? Because you drive an hour to work and an hour back home, or 45 minutes. How many hours are you on the computer? You know, and then you realize they're constantly having the same sternocleidomastoid on this side, and there's splenius cervicus and capitis on the opposite side. Like, and I say to them, so like, where exactly is your computer screen? Well, I sit here, but my computer screen's here. So I kind of type like this all day, you know? Well, okay, that kind of makes sense, but realize until you address that, you can come to me until you're broke and we're both frustrated, but just know until you make this ergonomic change, and I'm not saying it's gonna fix everything. Now the problem with that, then they want their employer to pay for it and da-da-da. So you gotta, it's like, my massage therapist says you need to change my, and it's not gonna go over good at work, so. But do you understand how I'm laying out a plan with them? And sternocleidomastoid, many therapists have worked on it, but they didn't share what they were doing with the therapist. So when I circle this, I go, now this is in the front of the neck. We at least need to assess this one time. You know, like I'm always watching their eyes. And I always touch mine at the same time and go, it's called the sternocleidomastoid, very actively involved, and you can see how it goes. I said, I at least need to assess this once. I said, many times it's overlooked. And they go, no one's ever touched that on me in the front of my neck. And I go, well, we at least need to assess it once. If we don't do it on the initial visit, we can do it on a follow-up. So I'm giving them the option. Guess what they always tell me to do? Do it on the initial visit. They're giving me permission to touch the front of their, you know what, like, these are all sensitive, concerning issues. I need to try to so I've laid out a treatment plan. When I'm all done, I can sit them up and say, you know what, today, this was on a scale of 1 to 10, this was like an 11 on you. You know, I barely touch your shoulders and it's like causes you to wince. We did not even get into these muscles or these muscles today, not at all. These were tender, it makes sense the way it's referring. Sternocleidomastoid was very sensitive. And there's different heads to these too, so you'll look at it, sternocleido 1 and 2, because the sternal head does a totally different pattern than the clavicular. One goes into the forehead, another one goes right into the ear, and these were mine. And if you look them up, Travell talks about the dizziness, the ringing in the ears, the misdiagnosis of differential diagnosis as Meniere's disease are listed. But my doctor wasn't going to hear of that stuff. So isn't that easier to understand? Like, so you're doing a massage. Yes, they want their full body massage today. You'll do their full body massage today, but you make it a little more precise in a few spots, you know? And if you had to pick two, you kind of know which two here you could do. And if they were like, wow, you know, that's amazing, then you go, you know, what we could do, what I normally do is the whole session just focused on the different regions, or we treat a little around the whole body, and it's not like I'm treating you, but it's not like you're going to sleep, because I also need feedback from them. So it is like I need to know, is that referring, is it not referring? I need to know, is my now some people don't talk to you, they'll just kind of raise a finger. You kind of get into a groove where you kind of know you're communicating without talking. It's a weird thing. So I did that to each area of the body so that I could instantly these are my those notes I was talking about. It's like I've got the converted thing right down to here for me. So there again, if someone told me that they had low back pain, who's going for it?
Good guy.
But like I would start here, you know what I'm saying? And I would tell them, you know, these columns are broken, just so you know, columns are broken down into regions and compartments, okay? All those muscles are grouped to because that's where we treat, one area. They're always superficial to deep. On rare occasion, it might even run up to the next column and kind of go down. And then I'm just trying to get them balanced. So I always kind of walk them through the column real quick. I tell them I was talking about this area of the body. And I tell them these are the muscles. And I tell them they're listed. So we've got the skin, and then from the skin we start with this top muscle. And here again, trapezius is sometimes listed on more than one chart, because it's involved in this torso. So if you're looking for this, What's lumbar pain, which is orange? Nothing, 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 boom. Circle. Anything? Anything? Dr. Janet Travell's low back pain protocol. She's not saying that this is what's involved. It's just based on research. Are you with me? Like, these are the most likely to be involved. You pair that with a little posture assessment, nothing major, like just like what's the flare is obvious.
Yeah.
You're not gonna, and then you can start to get, and then this allows me to introduce muscles like the psoas, which is deep in the abdomen. And I'm able to show them how it can cause back pain. And when I show them that, and I tell them I at least need to assess it once, because it also tells me it could be shortened just based on the posture, on how you're standing. We could do a couple other assessments to check the length of the psoas muscle, but it's like you're assessing them in a way so you can figure it out. Like, I've got pictures of the doctors rolled back on the table and they're pulling their knee, because like this is like, you're like this all day. There's no way that I can just release. Like, it's some of it's coming from the legs here, from your adductors, from your quadriceps. So it's like helping them see the big picture. And you can only, and then, but I need to be able to demonstrate for them what they're about to do for me.
Yeah.
That's important. I was showing Joshua, right?
Isaiah.
Isaiah.
I'm sorry. Joshua, Isaiah, we all roll together. No, I apologize. Isaiah, like, from here I'm going down to Clearwater. I've got some, I unexpected, something got scheduled yesterday. I said, I can't be there, I can be there Friday. So I'm going from here, getting a hotel, I got meetings in the morning. But I was showing him, like, in my car, I got a yoga mat. In my car, I've got a foam roller. I got a piece of luggage that just has my yoga mat, my foam roller, a couple of these AccuBall things, a Theracane.
He has a whole self-care suitcase that he takes with him everywhere.
Because if you can't take care of yourself, you can't teach your people how to take care of themselves. And when you can do it and you're coming from a place where I know this seems weird, but this is what I do, and you show them, and you do it, and then you have them get on the floor with you, like nobody does that for them, And then you've got to give them permission. That's the other thing. This is important. Like, no one's like, you got to kind of put yourself into their lives too. And like, I tell them, like, you do have permission to tell the kids that you're going to go to the bathroom for a few minutes and they're not going to bother you, And I want you to stand in the mirror, and I know it's going to feel weird, but I want you to just notice, while they're looking at themselves, what this is like and what this is like, and are your shoulders level, and just some of that, I tell them, like, I actually will teach them little stretches that they can do. Like, we might need to be straight, like, what can they do on the bathroom counter? Like, even doing this, like, for a lot of people, like, oh, God, it feels... No, I'm serious. Like, it's shocking as you start to help these people, like, they don't move. They really don't move. You've got to be teaching them some of these other skills that they got to do. If you can get more water through their body, like, that's the other thing. Like, I was one of these people, I was coffee all day from the morning I woke up until I went to sleep, I smelled like coffee, I smelled like coffee, I smelled like nicotine. If you've been around these people, I was one of those people for a while in my life. So for me to make changes, it was like, I just couldn't go from my 3-liter bottles of Coke a day to water, and like, I really had established some really bad what would almost be considered normal today, habits. No, I'm serious. And that's when I realized, like, I did this to myself, you know. And then I started thinking, I should be able to reverse this, even though I was told impossible. Trust me, impossible. But today, I'm shocked at what the human body can withstand, what it can come back from. I know the different type of traumatic. I was in some motor vehicle accidents that, like, just amazing that we walked away in one piece, you know. And those were the days before we just had one seatbelt, if anyone wore it back then. I've been in the dissection lab. I have just seen these massive things inside of people that they lived with their entire life, and that's not what they died from. You know, and I'm thinking, like, that is amazing that, like, nothing's in their report, nothing, but, like, that was in their body, taking up that much of the lung space or whatever it might have been, no problem. Or just to see, I know I did specialize for a while in motor vehicle accidents, because at one time, massage therapists could bill for a motor vehicle. No kidding. And we can't anymore. One day, one of the governors did a signature, they took us out. So belonging to your organizations, like Crystal was talking to you about, oh, we're like done, I'm sorry. You guys rock. I'm sorry we didn't do more. I will get, like everyone in the class, eventually we will get you the app, you know, so you can use it. I gotta work kinks out. Start to write your business plans of what you want to do. I had a plan that said I was going to work on sporting people so many days a week and a dentist so many. None of that came to be. I've rewritten my business plan multiple times, and so should you. I went through life always constantly thinking, like, how many massage treatments do I have to do to pay for dinner? Like, I related everything to treatments, and you need to start doing that in your budget, okay? And you don't have to do what everybody else is and get the lattes, you know, like that it will just eat you alive. If you could save that 5 or 10 or like having that $400 or $1,000 emergency fund is so key to getting you through. Like, I just can't tell you how key that is, you know, like to get you through the hard humps. Building that emergency, like, if anything, that I want to stress to you is, like, it is key to get down into your budget. Like, you just, I know no one wants to do it, but like to really, like, once you just really get, and I've been so broke, I've had to be tight, you know, like, and I still live, like, I've got a cooler with a bunch of food. Like, I wasn't gonna let the food go to waste today when I'm leaving for 3 days. I went ahead and mixed it. I steamed up the vegetables. I threw some sauce in it. I'll eat it for the next 2 days. I'm not going out of town to treat myself to go out to eat at a bunch of places that it's not even nutritional stuff. You need to teach your clients to do that, you know? And I got off on the caffeine. So, like, I would drink 2 glasses of water to a glass of Coke. And like those little things helped me convert myself, and then those conversions I ended up sharing with clients. Okay, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.